Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Reid Zakos. He's got a brand new record out. It is called Sacred, and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Reid, thank you seriously for being here. How are you doing today? What's going on?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Excited the record's finally out. Been working on it with RedPanda Productions, the songwriter and
Yeah.
producer, main collaborator. We've been working on it for 5 years together. We started with a song called Deck of Cards, and that was kind of the catalyst to keep working together and keep writing together. And we worked together in Vancouver for a little bit, but then sent stuff back and forth throughout the pandemic, and
Yeah.
finally finished the album this year.
I was gonna say, you must have this massive weight off your shoulders, considering it took 5 years to put this out. What's the feeling like knowing that it's done?
It's This is the fun part, getting to share it with everyone,
Sure.
and hearing everyone's interpretations of the songs, and sort of building the full album kind of storyline,
Yeah.
and um, kind of see the whole picture rather than just single here, single there. Um,
Exactly. And I think that's kind of, obviously where the music industry is. People release singles just to, garner attention. And, no one has an attention span anymore. So it's really just like, here's a single, here's one. But then you have the full album and it kind of runs so cohesively from start to finish. I want to know though, because it was written such a long period of time, what are these songs actually about? And did you have any trouble, transforming it from singles to an album in terms of the album experience?
not really. I guess the first we started with two songs. Deck of Cards was sort of the first. First we met through a radio station actually, and he was sort of a fan of my voice and my music. And funny enough, at the time I was working a retail job,
Sure.
to pay the bills, and I helped him, and he was one of the first people to ever say to me, he was like, "Are you Reid the singer?" And sort of
No way. That's awesome.
sort of just recognized my voice from hearing me on the radio in Vancouver. And I guess he had heard like a little snippet of an interview that I had had before. So and he had released an album that year and sort of had been on the same program. So it was just sort of this kind of cosmic meeting, and
Oh
we
yeah.
fought we followed each other, and didn't really talk for a while. But then, as I started releasing music, he reached out and said, "I would love to work with you." And we had lots of similar influences. We're both huge Lady Gaga fans, and sort of 2010s era
Oh
dance
yeah.
pop was sort of a huge inspiration for all the production. So we met for coffee. He sent me a couple tracks, and the first two we wrote were called Deck of Cards and Falling, which kind of both, it's sort of like the yin and yang of the record, because Deck of Cards is super like bold and confident, and then Falling is a little bit more, you see like a softer side of me and my voice. And the themes are about falling in love. So it's sort of this duality that I think we enjoyed the contrast, so we wanted to keep working together and see what happened. And
Yeah.
15 songs. Well, a couple of them are interludes, and
Sure.
there's one cover, but it ended up being 15 tracks.
It's amazing. And listen, it's really always tough with a producer because you work with a producer and you try to, you know, share the vision that you have for everything, and somehow they have to work it out on the computer or whatever program they're using. It's like if you find a good producer, it's like finding the other half of your brain because
Mm.
it's like speaking another language almost. It's like you have the art side of it where you have the vision of creating the actual record. They're the ones that kind of have to put it together. So I guess what did it look like actually making the record? Like, what did the conversations look like? What did the actual collaboration entail?
Yeah, well, Luckily, we met in 2019, so it was before pandemic time. So we got to
Yeah,
work. Uh, he sent me a few tracks after we had met for coffee, and then I just sort of top lined and kind of did my own thing, sent him some ideas, and then we got together in person to record the vocals, and he would suggest harmonies and different background vocals, and he actually has quite a few vocals of his own on the record, kind of
yeah,
fitted into the production. So um, we got to work on those two songs a lot together. But then I moved back to Calgary right before the pandemic started. So then we were working remote, but it somehow worked. We never really FaceTimed or talked on the phone. We just kind of
sure,
communicated via like email or text, and
yeah,
send me a track, and then I'd write a verse, and then I would record a demo, and then he would take my vocals and sort of um, build the production around that.
got it.
If the production um, didn't sort of serve the vocal or serve the lyrics, so and a lot of songs he kind of had started on his own and just sort of didn't know what to do with them. I don't know
Sure,
how long he had been holding on to some of them, but um, it was cool to sort of top line, but have more back and forth with a producer
makes
and
sense.
um, kind of create things together. And I would send him different reference tracks here and
Sure,
there, lots of mixing notes, and
of course. And
but
I think even pre-pandemic, everything that you're explaining is not, unbelievably not heard of before. It's really nice to be in a studio with people, but studio time is expensive. If you can communicate your ideas over text or email or whatever it is, it kind of feels like that's the easiest way to do it.
mhm,
So I don't blame you for taking that route because obviously it worked. You would never be able to tell that it was such a labor of love over time and also, not being right next to each other. It hardly even matters.
yeah. And then luckily we did get to finish it together in
Sure.
person. I moved back to Vancouver, and the pandemic was more or less over. And um, he, we would get together and work on vocals and finish the songs. And
Right.
nice to sort of tie the.
Right. Like, hey, buddy, it's been a while. A lot of things happened, but we should get back together and finish this thing. What do you think? Yeah, that's great. When you actually set out to make a record, did you always have this genre in mind, or did it just kind of happen as you made the singles one after the other?
I think I've always wanted to pursue pop and bubblegum,
Yeah,
but I think I'm definitely also influenced a lot by jazz music because my dad was a
sure.
jazz piano player. Um, but this record in particular, I'd say it was very specific, like 2010s era,
Right.
very.
Which, it's not even that long ago. It feels like another lifetime ago, don't get me wrong. But I think what you did here that really works is you took that very definitive decade sound and you still brought a ton of modern elements to it. Like there's a ton of amazing pop artists today that take cues from 10, 15 years ago. But what you've done is you've taken that and you're like, hey, it's 2024. This is what I think, that sounded like, plus with my own unique flair on it. And I think that's why the whole record pops.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was really nice, not to get too far away from the record. And obviously because you just worked 5 years on this thing, do you have any idea for a follow-up or what you would maybe want to try to experiment with in the future?
Well, I because this took 5 years, I was still creating in the meantime, and
Yeah,
working on other singles and different projects, and I had released an album at the end of 2023 that was a little bit more um, modern, I guess, rather than 2010s
sure,
era. So, I was experimenting and just writing, and whatever was finished, I was sort of like, okay,
I
well,
understand.
when should I roll this out? When should I roll that out? And I've also been working on another record with Jaden McKenzie, who I collaborated with a few times. So
Nice.
we that'll probably be the next kind of direction I go in. But I feel like the last few years I've had so much output that I just sort of want to take my time and enjoy sharing this record and
Of
um,
course.
bring the live show together, push all the songs as much as I can, maybe do some more video stuff. But I think
Totally.
the next sort of foray into new music will kind of be more like alternative or like even hyper pop with Jaden.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, but this
Ni-
this feels nice and cohesive because it was all the same producer and sort of not songs that I would necessarily arrive at on my own. Um,
Totally. I mean, that's the benefit of working with different people is like it's always going to be a different end product and you know the vision you had, it clearly worked. And yeah, you can always work with new people in the future and that's kind of the nice part of it. I love that. Um was there I mean, I asked this because this is kind of the music that I listen to and enjoy. Was there like a definitive album, say even 10 to 15 years ago that had such a profound impact on you that it kind of changed you from consumer of music to wanting to be a creator of music?
ooh, I'd say, well, and it's funny because I do reference the album in some of the lyrics, or allude to it, but
Sure.
Confessions on a Dance Floor by Madonna. Um,
Nice.
I reference that in the first real song, Need Your Touch. Um, so that was a huge record that made me want to make my own music. And I would also say Gwen Stefani, Love Angel Music Baby was
Sure.
had a huge influence on me and wanting to become a songwriter and singer. Um, but I think production wise for this album, our always go to reference was the Fame Monster.
Of course. I mean, yeah, a modern classic, but the other two are excellent as well. Nice. You also mentioned live shows. Is that something that you've done, or is it something that's planned for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I do live shows quite a bit, and usually, Pride festivals, the Pride
Sure.
circuit every year, every summer. So I have, I don't know if I can announce them yet, but there
Yeah,
will be something for Vancouver or something, and something for Edmonton,
sure.
hopefully summer. But I think in the fall I'd like to do like a album release party or some kind of show that's just that I
Okay.
sort of do on my own,
Yeah.
have similar acts open and yeah.
Are there a handful of songs on this record that you're just dying to play in a live setting? Ones that you just think would like just bring all the energy to the people?
Yeah, the stuff I've done live before, like Need Your Touch, I is always really fun to do live and
Nice.
deck of cards, but some of them I'm kind of nervous because I'm like I sing so high and I don't know how
It's
to
tough.
live. Um, like Who I Am and Never Stop, kind of the more ballad ones. I'm like
Sure.
saying hi, I better start rehearsing and practicing and I'd hopefully like to bring some live instrumentation into the shows too, rather than just having
Yeah,
tracks, just because I feel like it'll elevate it more.
a 100%.
Not that I'm opposed.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. And it's sometimes it's easier said than done because then that's the whole finding a band, finding people to learn your music and do the whole thing. But I promise if you make it work, like the people appreciate it. Totally. Um, I also want to know, you know, we kind of just passed the halfway point of this year, which is crazy. I can't believe this year's halfway finished, but what is the plan for the rest of the year? You know, this record is out. You've got months on the way. What are you going to be working on? What are you excited for?
I think I'm excited to start working with new people,
Sure.
exploring new sounds, new collaborators, finish up the record I have with Jaden McKenzie. Um, but I think just enjoy each song that I push from Sacred
Yeah.
and I really want to work on some more visuals and videos to kind of um, have that part of the experience
Right.
rather than just audios.
Yeah, and listen, I think these songs deserve it. Like, there's nothing better than I mainly what I'm saying is like I feel like the song when you listen to them, they play a music video in your head. You have the vision for the album, which means you probably have the vision for what you see when you're making it. There's nothing better than a music video to kind of like complete the circle.
No, and it's so funny because now music videos aren't as big as they used to be, and
Eh,
YouTube era and MTV and all that, but
sure.
I've always been sort of a visual first kind of
Yeah.
person. So I think that's something I want to put time and money and creative energy towards.
I agree. And I also agree on the video thing. For me, it's kind of sad because I love a good music video when done right and actually creative instead of just like, you singing the song and there's extra things happening. They can really elevate the song as a whole. So it's like if you have the vision for it and you can do it without breaking the bank, then it's only going to, be a positive for you.
For sure, yeah.
Nice. Um, Real quick, and we don't have to talk about it too much, but you mentioned this upcoming project leans a little more towards hyperpop. I only ask out of just personal, just asking. It's a genre that I have not fully gotten into. Who can you recommend to like kind of dip my toes in?
Well, it's funny because in some ways they've become so mainstream now. But
Yeah,
I think Charlie XCX does it super
okay.
well.
Because I've been listening to Brat all summer, and I just didn't know that that was hyperpop. But maybe when I think hyperpop, I just think like nonstop, like dopamine firing. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'd also say Sophie is
Oh yeah,
I think they were like the hyper pop beginning. I don't
yeah.
know. It feels
R.I.P.
yeah.
I think
So
we're getting
I'd
a posthumous Sophie album too, which I heard recently.
yeah, that's gonna
There's
be good.
rumors. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. Um, Anyways, I have a couple more questions for you. I want to know, like, before someone listens to this record, do you think there's anything really important they should know before getting into it?
Hmm. Not necessarily. Even if they've never heard me or don't know me, I think just go in with an open mind and interpret the songs how you want to interpret them. Um, but I hope it makes them feel liberated, confident, and sort of free to be themselves. And that's kind of what I always strive for with music and live shows is sort of that element of self acceptance and self empowerment.
Nice.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say that before you start the record, but I hope you feel that
Sure.
once you're in the record.
Exactly. It's a pre and post feeling. And then lastly, where can people find you? Where can people listen to your music?
Yeah, I'm on all music streaming platforms under Reid Zakos. I have a website, readworldmusic.com. I'm still one of those people that has a website.
Hey,
um,
people go to websites every day. Why not yours?
yeah. And then YouTube, I have lots of content on YouTube. TikTok, I'm like not super good at, but I'm getting better at it. Uh,
Okay.
Instagram, Twitter, all the places.
Nice. Reid, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Before we wrap up here, please let me plug everything else for you. So if you didn't know who I'm speaking with, this is Reid Zakos. The record is called Sacred. Of course, in our article and everywhere else, we will have the links so you can listen, share, follow along. By the sound of it, there's a ton more in the works and on the way. I'm excited for it. And truly, I want to thank you for taking the time. It really means a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Austin. And
You're
I
very welcome.
hope everyone enjoys Sacred. Let's get
I
sacred.
I know they will. It's not a think, it's a no. Listen, have an amazing rest of your night. I hope to speak soon.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome. Take care. Bye bye.